All right, everybody. Good afternoon on this Tuesday. Hope things are going well for you guys. We had a Seahawks practice session today. I will admit we didn't pick up a ton of information from it. I don't think there's that much to go over, but we'll go over what we have. We do have some information at least. Again, we're kind of at the stage of the offseason where these training camp sessions, for the most part, are going to just be business as usual. Things continue to flow on, and you get little bits of actual concrete information here and there. So it's not really all that surprising. Real quick, before we get into what went down today at the VMAC, couple things. First, I was told by someone who watched my video this morning, one person, that there was a little buzz on my microphone over the last couple of days on some of the videos. And I want to ask if anybody else is experiencing the same thing, if there's something maybe I need to change. I personally don't really hear it, but that could be for many different reasons that have nothing to do with the fact that there isn't a microphone problem. And if there is, I want to know now so I can address it before we actually get to the season. So if you hear something funky with the audio on this video, I want to know so I can try to fix it. Number two, I'm currently, as of the last time I checked, which was a few minutes ago, 2 followers shy of 500 over on Bleacher Report. So if you're not already following me on the Bleacher Report app, please do so. I'm posting 4 videos a week and doing 1 live stream a week over there. So if you haven't already done it, please do so. 2 away, excuse me, wow. 2 away from 500. All right, let's get to this practice session. First of all, you guys might remember we didn't have practice yesterday, which was not typical. Mike McDonald took the team to Topgolf. It was just something that was seemingly spontaneous. He wanted to do something a little bit different. He wanted to give the guys some time to reward them for what he views as a pretty successful offseason to this point. It's not normal for NFL coaches to do this, but it is the kind of thing that McDonald likes to do, and it does seem to resonate. It does seem to work. It seems to be effective. And so far, I don't really have a lot of complaints to levy about the way Mike McDonald is leading this team on a human level. So certainly can't object to that. I do like golf too. Golf is a very fun sport to play. So that part of it's cool too. Now remember, tomorrow they are traveling to Green Bay, and then Thursday they're doing the joint practice. So there's not going to be, to my knowledge anyway, any kind of practice tomorrow. And then we just have the joint practice, which could be very interesting on Thursday. So one of the only things in terms of like on-field stuff that really caught my attention from the beat reporters today was this from Michael Sean Dugar. He's obviously doing a lot of great work over at the VMAC, has been doing it for some years now. He was talking a little bit about some of the work the defensive backs are doing, and I hate how these videos loop, by the way. I apologize for that if that's distracting anybody. But to my knowledge, I can't stop it. It wasn't letting me stop it. But anyway, the starting DBs usually work on different aspects of their game during special teams period. Here's Reek, Job, and Spoon working on press coverage, which Reek recently said there's a lot of in this scheme. Now, I'm a big fan of press coverage. I think press coverage is something that teams need to be doing as much as possible. I think that press coverage is something that is very, very crucial in the current stage of the NFL, where teams are not really pressing things deep down the field as much, and things are more about quick developing and quick hitting plays. So I really like the fact that Reek called out that there's a lot of that in this scheme, because I feel like there wasn't a ton of it last year. I could be remembering the wrong numbers, but I don't feel like there was as much press as we were expecting last year. So it's not a shock that he wasn't able to implement everything he wanted to do, but I am noting that Reek said something like this. It's the same thing as like when Byron Murphy said that he was going to be rushing the passer a lot more this year and not playing nose. So when you hear something like that and it's in line with what you hope is going to happen, it makes you feel pretty good. It makes you feel pretty excited. All right, so that was one of the few on-field things that caught my eye, really. There were other video clips of like the edge rushers doing pass rush drills, but there wasn't anything necessarily super informative from that. group. Most of it was just injury stuff. Let's get through that. Ken Walker was a full go today in practice. He went 100%, so he is healthy. No problems here. Again, I don't think he was hurt the last couple practices he missed. I think he just missed them to miss them. That's 2 in a row for him, by the way, as Greg Bell points out, which is pretty indicative of him being at basically 100% right now. This isn't really an injury thing, but it kind of is. Sundell remains the starting center, and Oluwatimi remains the second center. Now, Oluwatimi was able to practice today, and according to Crabtree, he seemingly practiced in full, so he's healthy, but he's not yet earned that starting job back, which is certainly interesting because we're running out of time. Decision is going to come very soon, and this is much closer than I expected. And it's a pretty good problem to have, I would say. I'm certainly not upset that these guys are making it hard for us, but decision must be made, and Oluwatimi has clearly lost ground. We also had Josh Ross back. We also had Tyreek Smith back. I didn't know Tyreek Smith was out. Josh Ross had surgery on his hand or something. It wasn't too big of a deal, so he's back now. I still think that Ross has a pretty decent chance of making this roster, so it's good that he's healthy. We also had finally, and this guy had been injured so long, a lot of people had forgotten he existed, Shamar Jean-Charles, first day back on the field after missing all of camp with a lower body injury now. It's probably too late. I don't think you can miss all of camp and then come back now with one preseason game left and have any real chance of making the team, but at least he's physically okay. That's certainly good. Horton, however, was still out. Horton was out with the ankle injury. Now, either they're playing it very carefully with him, which I support, or it was slightly less minor than initially indicated, because the sentiment from the coaching staff early was that Horton was, how should I put this? He could have gone back into that Chiefs game if he needed to, but they decided to hold him out to be careful, which indicates to me that he should be back on the practice field in the next few days, and we haven't seen that yet. Now, again, you want to play it careful with him. It's not like his roster spot's in jeopardy here. I still do wonder if maybe it was slightly less minor than indicated, even if it still is minor. Also not practicing was Uchenna Nwosu. He has officially not been activated off PUP yet. He did pass his physical, so I think there's like a time window where we have to activate him or else put him on IR. If I recall correctly, there is some kind of rule there where you're not allowed to just hold the guy forever after he passes his physical, but we haven't done it yet, so that's interesting. Now, there's a big gap between passing your physical and being able to play in an NFL football game, so I'm not surprised this is going in stages. We talked about this previously, but they are going in stages. That's really about it from camp today. It was dry. Most of what we have in terms of information about Seahawks adjacent or Seahawks stuff is actually not anything to do with what we saw at the VMAC. We do have some news, though, and I may make a separate video about this tomorrow. Dalton Risner is going to visit the Seahawks. This is a free agent left guard. He worked out with the Bengals. He may work out with the Steelers. He is going to be working out with the Seahawks. Interesting kicking of the tires. Risner, not an old player, has not been in the league an excessive amount of time, was decent last year in limited duty for the Minnesota Vikings. Backup left guard candidate, seems relatively reasonable. I will say that this is a very, very poor indicator of where Christian Haynes is, that we don't even feel comfortable letting him have backup left guard if that's what's going on here. That tells me they don't trust him at all, which is concerning, because I would have thought there would have at least been some very low-level baseline that we would trust him to be a backup. But if we do actually bring in Risner, who I think has played, maybe he's played some right guard in his career, but I think he's basically been left guard at the whole time. And I certainly look at him as a left guard in terms of his skill set. He was on Denver for many years. That's mostly where he played. That would tell me that Christian Haynes is just out. Like, there's nothing there. I may make a separate video about this. I'm not going to go too deep into it now, but it is interesting. The Packers have indicated that they're going to play a decent chunk of their starters in the preseason finale on Saturday, so expect to see some of their key guys. But it sounds like there's going to be no Jordan Love because he just had the procedure done on his, I think it was his thumb. So Malik Willis is going to be the order of the day. And I mean, Malik Willis does present some unique challenges. He does present some unique skill set stuff. But that would mean that the only starting quarterback the Seahawks defense got to play all preseason was Geno Smith for, what was it, 4 or 5 plays in the first game, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They're certainly getting to play against Sam Darnold in practice. I'm not going to worry about it, but it's probably not exactly what you plan on as a team. The good news is we're going to see some starters, so there will be some indication of where the team is against a real NFL lineup. And a couple of things going on in the NFC West. I'm sure you guys have all seen the Stafford stuff. He did practice some yesterday, but McVay said there's really nothing new to report. They're still working through stuff, so we don't really have any new information. Excuse me. We did get some positive movement for the 49ers with their players coming back from injury. You can see the guys who returned today. It's a pretty substantial list and includes guys like Nick Bosa and Isaac Guerrero. Those are pretty important parts of that team. Renardo Green could be pretty important as well. So things are getting a little bit better for these division rivals, but we got a long way to go. We'll see what happens. And the Niners in particular, there's still a long list of players that aren't practicing. So this is just the first step in a pretty long journey. That's all I got for today. Let me know what you guys think. Peace out. Go Hawks. Should be on Twitch later. More videos coming tomorrow. Give me a follow on the Bleacher Report. And talk to you soon.